Hey everybody, happy Friday. Welcome into Business Salad. Hope everybody had a wonderful short week if you had Monday off.
That's right. That's right. I am Katie Anderson, and this is Steph Reyna. And we are so excited, you guys, today to be able to talk a little bit about our very first nonprofit that we're going to be highlighting in our series on nonprofits. And this is Nichole Pangle, the executive director of the ARC of Northern Shenandoah Valley. And so we are excited to have you. So, Nichole, how are you today?
I am doing wonderful. And can I just say what an honor it is to be here, to be the first nonprofit. I'm just thankful that you guys have given me this opportunity. So again, excited to be here, ready to roll.
Absolutely. We're so glad to have you on, and we're super excited to have you kicking off this nonprofit focus that we're working on for 22. So I'd like to start out by having you tell everybody just a little bit about yourself personally, where you're from, family, whatever you'd like to get into.
Sure. So I am actually a Virginia transplant. I grew up along the Susquehanna River in Wrightsville, Pennsylvania, and I've been in Virginia probably about 20 years. I am mom to two kiddos. I have a son named Matthew that has severe autism, and then I have a almost 10-year-old going on 22-year-old daughter named Lily. And then I am married. I have two fur babies, Jammer and Poppy. And I love my community.
I love it. I love that. Now, Jammer and Popper, what kind of fur babies we got? Dogs, cats? Tell us that real quick.
They are actually dogs, and Jammer is my son's service dog. He is a golden retriever. He is amazing. And Poppy is a chocolate lab, and she is full of energy.
Oh my God.
It's a really nice way of putting it.
I love that so much. Well, we are so happy to have you, Nichole, and thank you so much for being on here. We are excited to talk about the ARC. And one of the things that we're excited about is understanding some of the nonprofits that we see. You know, obviously you folks, Nichole and Steph, you guys are East Coast. I'm out of Colorado, and we have, people that hang out with us all over the place. So we love really looking at some of these nonprofits on every scale, from those that are national, that have independent state sort of liberties, that kind of stuff. We love to find out about kind of that big level and smaller level about the ARC. So tell us first, on a national level, how long has the ARC been around? How the organization start? Let's start there.
Sure. So the ARC nationally started in 1950, and it came through the power of parents. Back in 1950, there were people, at the time it was called mental retardation. And when a child was born with the diagnosis of mental retardation, many times pediatricians or doctors said the best thing you can do is institutionalize your child. So families were putting their children in institutions. In 1950, there were parents that said, we're not going to do that. There's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better life. And parents banded together and said, enough is enough. We're going to raise our kids at home. We're going to make things happen. And that's kind of where the ARC jumped off. It was parents getting together and saying, we can change things. We're going to change things, and our kids are going to be part of our communities. And so it's kind of like my little passion thing. I get really excited about it because parents, we have so much power. And the ARC has just kind of evolved from there. It started with parents getting together, and the ARC has been part of like developing Social Security income, developing home and community-based services. The ARC has actually changed the word mental retardation, got that taken out of the books. Now it's an intellectual and developmental disability. So the ARC is at the forefront. It's the only advocacy organization made up of and for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. So I'm very honored to be part of it.
I love that so much, Nichole. I think that's beautiful. And talk about, stemming from a good place of parents just saying, we're going to make that change. And I feel like that just resonates with you. I love that. Well, tell us a little bit about, so I'm going to dig in a little here. So as far as, the general mission, you kind of touched on that a little bit, but maybe a little bit more on that, the mission and how it serves the community, some of those different things that the ARC does.
So honestly, the catchphrase is a life like yours. Anyone with an intellectual and developmental disability should have a life like you have, like I have. we should be included or they should be included in the communities that they serve. They should be able to attend church services that everyone else does. They should be able to live in homes and have jobs. That's really the catchphrase of the ARC, a life like yours. And we fight so that people are able to live in their homes and communities and do what everyone else does, and to be celebrated for the uniqueness that they bring in.
That's amazing. I love that, Nichole.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I love that we're getting this out there about the ARC and that we're here to help you spread your mission. I'm really curious, how did you get involved in, I know that you mentioned your son when we first kicked off. Is that what made you decide to get involved with a nonprofit in the first place, and why you chose ARC?
So no, actually, I am a social worker by trade.
Okay.
I got into the social work field when I was in college. I had a friend that was killed on a plane crash, and I decided I wanted to be a counselor and disaster relief person. And then I decided, well, maybe hospice. And then I was like, nah, I really don't want to do that. So I have a background in crime victim and witness rights, domestic violence. And then when my son was born, I wanted to spend more time with him. And there was an option available for our local nonprofit of the ARC that they had a part-time position that, fundraising and setting up social activities and doing some advocacy. I was like, sign me up for that. And so I started that position. And during that time, my son was actually diagnosed with autism. So it's kind of a full circle thing. And I was exactly where I was supposed to be at the time I was supposed to be there.
Absolutely. Yeah. I really believe in that too.
Yes. Absolutely.
In that being where you're meant to be when you're meant to be there. So that's incredible. What a background you've got, Nichole.
Yes. Social work is definitely my passion. I love to serve others. I love being part of the community and making things better for those around me.
You're amazing.
Wow, that is great. One of the things that'd be good for us to understand, you are that executive director role, and I know that there are people in those roles across the country. Tell us a little bit about your role in the organization and what you specifically do with the ARC in that role.
Sure. So one thing I want to clarify, every ARC chapter is a little bit different. So the national chapter has lawyers and has different folks involved, and they have different things that they work on. Other chapters are very small. Some offer day support programs, some offer legal advocacy. So every ARC is a little bit different. So my particular chapter, we are kind of a one-stop shop. My main goal is when families have a loved one who is diagnosed with a disability, I take them from that starting point and go through an entire lifetime. These are the things you need to know, because when your child is diagnosed with a disability, there are so many things that you need to know about wait lists for services. People can wait 10 to 15 years to get services. How long a student can stay into high school, how to get job supports, what's going to happen when I'm gone. That is the biggest pain point that I do and work with parents on, because we want to be there for our kids, but most times we are going to outlive our children, and making sure that they're going to be able to be taken care of appropriately after mom and dad aren't going to be able to do the advocacy anymore. So birth to death, we serve them and make sure they know what they need to do and what supports are available.
Wow, I think that's amazing. And Nichole, so much of what we think about when someone's either going through something or they're having to learn about something is, what resources are there, or because no one automatically just like wakes up realizing these things. So I love that you have this, and I think it's so important for us to be able to let people know about this great organization. That's awesome.
Yes.
And one of the cool things is, like, I'm a parent, and that allows families to resonate with me as well, because I'm not just a person sitting behind a desk. I get to go through all the things that they go through. I go through the IEP. I've, had to advocate for my son on national levels. So it's not just a person that doesn't get it. I do get it. And I think it makes me a better advocate for families.
Yeah, absolutely. And I recently heard you speak at another event that we were at, and listening to you talk about all of the things that you've done to help families and to help children and to support the ARC's cause, especially your chapter. What is your favorite story for your chapter to date?
So probably my favorite story, it's anytime a parent, I sit with them, and a lot of times it will take about 2 hours to go over, these are the services available. And they have that point where they realize, I'm not by myself in this. And there is actually help. I get those moments, and that just makes everything worthwhile. So when I have those moments, that's the best part of what I do and being in nonprofit. When a family realizes they're not alone and that there are people out there to help them, makes everything worthwhile.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure. And now are you able to dig in just a little bit on, you talk about that meeting in the beginning, and it's generally about 2 hours long that goes through everything. Can you kind of walk us through that on a really high level, and then how you continue to help the family?
Absolutely. So a lot of times I will meet parents over coffee because I don't want to be someone sitting behind a desk that's intimidating, because too many times in their lifetimes, they're going to have to do that. So we'll sit down, have coffee, and I will ask them, tell me about your child, tell me about your loved one, tell me about, their personality, what your hopes and your dreams and your goals are. So, and from there, we kind of pick apart, okay, so this is kind of what you want to do. This is what you would like to see in the lifetime. These are the services that you need to do. So if a family has a loved one with autism, we can get them set up with behavioral treatment services. We can get them set up with a lawyer. We can get them set up with a special needs trust, letting them know about waiver services. If their loved one's going to be able to live on their own, if not, we can get them set up with those services and supports. Say, this is what you want. Here's your life plan. We're going to take this at a time. And I'll give families a checklist. This is what you need to do now. This is what you need to do later. And many times I work with families. I've been in this position for about 12 years. Many of the families I started out with, I am still serving. So I think that's pretty important, that we're just not a one-time deal. We actually serve families throughout their lifetime. We don't go away.
Yeah.
So
that continuity, I think, is so important. And oh my gosh, Nichole, you gave me chills when you were talking about all of the things that you do to help these families. That's incredible.
Absolutely. And what a great thing. I feel like when you're talking about this, we can feel that this is coming from such a place in your heart, and it's just so much love. And I think that's a great thing. And, so many people out there, maybe they aren't running a nonprofit, maybe they're not at that point, but they do want to give back. They want to, whether it's give time or donations or whatever the case is. And I know we chatted briefly about volunteering, but would you maybe give a little bit of an idea for us on how people, both locally or in a larger scale, can help with the cause and different kind of volunteering opportunities? Maybe a little bit about that.
Sure, absolutely. So first and foremost, no nonprofit I've ever been a part of will say no to cash. Every nonprofit needs funding. So that is a very simple way. Even a $5, if you skip your Starbucks in the morning and give $5, $5 can go a long way in a nonprofit organization. For volunteering, our chapter, as again, we are very, very small, just getting information to families, sharing things on social media, sharing about fundraisers, looking up the information, just sharing things, that is huge. And that's something that doesn't cost anyone a thing. Getting that information, because you never know what you put out there, who it's going to reach, and getting the reach to more folks is absolutely huge. Our specific chapter, we try and get the information about everything: special education, special needs trust, guardianship, all of those different things. And there's so many different facets to each of those. So I try and make fact sheets about that. That is something that someone could do remotely. We actually have a specific volunteer group on Facebook that people can join, and they can do things at their leisure. So I'll upload, hey, I have this option available. I have this available. Would you be willing to work on this? And then we can get more information out there. So your time, your energy, your talents, I suggest really kind of looking at what you're good at and reaching out to a nonprofit. These are my skill set. I don't like to put an individual in a job when they're great at fundraising. I don't want to put them in busy work. So it's really finding your passion and going to the nonprofit and say, how can you use my passion?
That's great. Yeah, absolutely. And for everybody out there, we will get all of the information to you guys in the comments so you can see where to find Nichole, where to find her chapter, and more information on the ARC in general. So Nichole, now, do you have advice? You know, you have such a background with the social work and everything else that you've done, but do you have advice for people who are looking to get involved with a nonprofit? Now, you talked about volunteering, but maybe at a higher level, like you're at, where they really want to make an impact full time with what they want to do.
Absolutely. Do it. That's what there's so many folks out there that need your gifts, your talents, your ideas in the world. Don't be afraid. You're not going to fail. Someone out there is going to need exactly what you have to offer. So just jump in feet first. Don't worry about it. You are going to make an impact.
Sounds like a lot of what we actually address here in Business Salad and being entrepreneurs, you know, it's synonymous with that. Don't be afraid, just go for it. So I love that, even from a business aspect.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That is great. Well, you know, one of the things we always like to do is kind of find out what some of the best ways, Nichole, for people to find you or maybe learn more about you or whatever the case is. How do people find you, Nichole? How does that work?
So me personally, or for the chapter?
Let's do both.
Okay. Yep. Personally, you can go to the ARC of Northern Shenandoah Valley's website. You can get me there. We have a lot of social media. We're on TikTok. We are on Instagram, and we are also on Facebook. So those are really good places to find us.
Cool.
Excellent. And we will get that information from you and get it out to everybody here. Nichole, thank you so much for being so generous with your time, coming on, letting us ask you these questions and dig into you and dig into the ARC and all of that. I really think that what you guys are doing is outstanding. You're making such a huge difference, and we really want to help you spread the word. So
thank you. And thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me. I'm just so delighted and thankful to both of you.
Absolutely. Well, thanks so much. I hope all of you have a wonderful Friday, an amazing weekend coming up. So happy Friday to everybody. And thanks again, Nichole.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. We'll see you soon.